Okay, another question that I get a lot is the equation for how many products you're gonna have at the end. So let's just think of it like this, okay? You're starting with one double-stranded template, okay? After one round of PCR, you've copied each, you have 2 copies, right? After another round, copy each of those, okay? So when you start with one template, after one round, you have 2 to the 1, 2 copies. After 2 rounds, you have 2 to the 2, 2 copies. PCR always ends with the extension step. It never ends with a denaturation step because you want to end up with double-stranded products. They're much more stable in your test tube. So we always talk about number of products in terms of double-stranded products, okay? Now what happens if instead of starting with one template, you started with more? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Just imagine that you have a whole nother reaction happening in parallel, right? So here we started with one double-stranded template, now we've got another one, and we'll just do the exact same thing, right? In the first round, we copy that. In the next round, we make copies of each of those. So we again had 2 to the 1 after one round, 2 to the 2 after 2 rounds. After the third round, we'll have 2 to the 3. And we have, right, 2 of them happening since we started with 2 double-stranded copies. So it's 2 times 2 to the n, where n is the number of PCR rounds when you start with 2 copies. Okay, if you start with 3, just imagine copying this whole thing a third time, so it's going to be 3 times 2 to the n. So we'll just say x for the number of starting copies times 2 to the number of rounds.